So today is March 14th. It's the anniversary of the Valley in Kenya splitting open prophetically just days after Black Panther grossed $1 billion at the box office. That happened just days after the chief seer's messenger in Kenya called me on March 4th and told me to get in contact with Disney because they violated the tribal secrets of the Gikuyu people, held in custody by the Jiru people, the Jiru clan. So, what's funny about this is when I asked him about the crack in Kenya and what that meant, because to me this was like mind-blowing, like wow, he just called me on March 4th and told me that had Disney and Marvel done things the proper way, what would have happened is they would have came for permission and prayers and rituals would have been done to get the consent of the ancestors to portray the sacred wisdom. And if that permission came back, it would have came with a limit as to how much money could be made. And anything past that limit would have had to be used for humanitarian or charity purposes. And of course, we know Disney didn't do anything like that. In fact, they underpaid their black actors. And I'm hearing that Disney's even funding white companies in Kenya. And I'm sure this is not what the ancestors would have sanctioned or instructed had things been done the proper way. Anyway, getting back to the crack in Kenya. I asked him about the crack because it had blew my mind. Like, he literally called me a few days before and told me that Disney would have had a limit. And then as soon as I see him make $1 billion, days later, I see the entire ground in Kenya just crack open, right? So I'm asking him, like, and then there's a whole nother part to that, because literally I sent in the report on March 9th, right? Because he gave him until, he said that was the deadline. So on the deadline, I had the report to say, no, I haven't made contact. But what I did was I asked for a few days. So I said March 13th, you know what I'm saying? I basically was saying, you know, until March 13th, I needed some extra days. So right after the 13th, on the 14th, that's when the ground cracked open. You know what I mean? So that was crazy. So I asked him about the crack, and he said that it is not a good thing. It is not a good. I was trying to see, like, maybe it was something good. Like, what sign is this? Because it's the elder's job to interpret these type of signs. So he said, no, we're not going to speak on this publicly because we don't want to scare anybody. He said they're going to let the white scientists, you know, the Western scientists address the situation from the Western scientific white man science point of view, right? It took a whole year for me to understand what the significance of that crack was and why the elders did not want to speak about it, and even why it didn't make sense for them to speak about it. Hurricane Idai was like the category 4 or 5 hurricane that came and devastated East Africa. When I saw the dates associated with Hurricane Idai, that's when I realized what the elders was talking about and why they didn't want to report about it, and why it didn't even make sense for them to report about it, because there would have been nothing nobody could do about it. Just look at the dates associated with Hurricane Idai. It formed on March 4th, the same day that the elders called me about this Black Panther violation. The same day, 1 year later, it formed, right? It reached its intensity, its peak intensity, on March 14th. 2019, the same day that the earth cracked open, the valley split open prophetically in the valley of Kenya. Y'all remember that millions were displaced, thousands lost their thousands people died. It was ugly. It was real ugly. And I understood that, you know, man, yeah, that's our people, but it was also our responsibility to protect the secret wisdom. And even though it was, you know, the white man, the colonizers who came in and I'm sure tortured people and did everything they could do to get their hands on that information or that secret knowledge, it was still our responsibility. So, but they're going to have to pay too. Matter of fact, they got it first. And if you remember, just 2 days after Black Panther was released, the worst fire in California history at the time had started. That California wildfire of 2018, when Camp Paradise, y'all remember that wildfire. If you look at where it started, do the research, you will see that it started at some place called Caribou. Now that name connects directly to scriptures, because when you look up the etymology of cherubim, you come to that same word, karibu, and it's also a word in Kenya, a Swahili word that means welcome, right? And then it's so close to Kabiru, which is the actual name of the Gikuyu ancestors. So it's like real interesting symbolisms and connections that make you have to think twice, like, what's really going on? Like, what does the spirit know that the flesh is not aware of yet? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are all of these events connected, so divinely connected? We're looking at the numbers now associated. What we're saying right now is, let's pay attention to the spiritual signs we're getting. Ryan Coogler, go ahead, set up the meeting. Let Disney know they need to go ahead and take care of the situation before things move forward, before this movie is released. Can't release this movie without squaring this stuff away. It's going to be tragic. It's going to be tragic. And then how divine is it that within 24, not even a full 24 hours after I released that video, a Marvel character died. One of the characters in the Marvel comic universe that also is violating the vibranium, violating the Ajiru clan secrets. So anywhere that you see vibranium intersect in any storyline in the Marvel comic universe, that is a violation. That storyline was supposed to have permission from the source work owners. So 24 hours, and we already got more headlines about Marvel characters. This time, they said William Hurt passed, or Hurt William, or something like that. You know, come on, y'all. Let's Hurt. Look at the name, Hurt. Y'all don't want to get hurt. We don't want people to get hurt. Like, wow. We don't want people to get hurt, and look what happened to Hurt. I mean, if these signs aren't more clear, like, come on, y'all. We got to use our third eye, our first eye. Use your first eye. Use your first eye when you're listening to this, when you're looking into this Black Panther situation, because you cannot study this from a purely Western scientific or Western perspective. You're going to have to use your spiritual eye and your spiritual ears. You're going to have to feel this information. Anyway, this Saturday, we're going over the Black Panther elements that are in the actual secret scroll of the Nazarites, right? And I'm also going to show y'all how Black Root Science also confirms this Black Panther curse. I found it yesterday. It's going to blow y'all mind when y'all see this. So we're going over that information on Clubhouse this Saturday, 10:44 a.m. Eastern time, just like we always do. We're reading the Black Root Science. We read from the secret scroll of the Nazarites. But this Saturday, we're going to go over, we're going to dedicate this Saturday to the Black Panther connections that are in the secret scroll, just so y'all can see that Jack Kirby did get his hands on ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge, you know what I'm saying? That's what he went looking for anyway. But, and that was all connected to, you know, the colonial era with the Nazis and the British royals and all of that stuff. You know, those high Illuminati bloodlines and stuff like that. That's just what it is. And I'm going to show y'all where the Black Root Science confirms this whole message that I'm saying about the Black Panther cast members, Ryan Coogler, and, you know, this whole Disney-verse, the real Wakanda situation. So y'all tap in this Saturday, 10:44 a.m., and let's go over that information. And we out here, you know what I mean? Share this video, share this information, sign the petition. We have a petition right now. That's the best we can do. That's actually, I think that is the best. Like, that's the best move, really, is to have the people put the pressure on Ryan Coogler to have the conversation with Disney to set up the meeting. Because now at this point, y'all are, see, had America constructed its laws the correct way, right, according to the knowledge of the gods, and understanding that, like, has been said in history, America is holding God's jewels, right? The Jews, the real ones. So, as been said, right, if things were done properly, there would have been certain laws that pertain to Black people and their spiritual reality. For instance, if you're doing films about African deities and African sacred knowledge, right, things must be cleared through the spiritual world, the world of spirits, before jeopardizing the lives of your cast members. Because we know they are held to a higher standard when it comes to spiritual matters. So, no one's thinking like that. I'm the only one that think like that, right? Come on now. Peace. Divine unity. Still like